Hello and welcome to Mount Sinai Live. We stream smart healthcare information that's simple to understand so New Yorkers can improve their health. I'll be your host. I'm Jimmy McKay. Today we're going to take a look inside doping in sports. To help us learn more, let's bring in orthopedic sports medicine surgeon here at Mount Sinai in New York City. He also provides care for the elite athletes of Team USA as a team physician for the U.S. ski and snowboard team, as well as USA fencing. Welcome to Mount Sinai Live, Dr. Robert Parisien. Dr. Parisien, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy. Glad to be here.
First off, smart move covering, ski and snowboard Winter Olympics and fencing Summer Olympics. So you've got both Olympic Games covered. Brilliant work there. Let's dive into the topic of the day, which is doping in sports. Can you give us the definition? What is doping? How would you describe it?
So doping is basically when an athlete takes a banned substance or illicit substance that can be performance enhancing. And it can be performance enhancing in any number of ways. And we can discuss certain drugs that allow you to do that and certain methods that can enhance an athlete's performance. But really, that's what it is. Doping is taking an illegal substance to improve their performance.
All right. So I know we've heard that term before, but let's go a little bit deeper. Why are athletes doing it? Must be getting a benefit. What are the advantages when they're participating in doping?
Well, if you can imagine at the elite levels, you have very, very close. Every outcome is very close. So meaning you have a race that you win by hundredths of a second. So any little small advantage that you can get can be beneficial. And for these athletes, some of these advantages are muscle bulk, depending on what your sport is, that may be beneficial. Another advantage may be fast twitch musculature and increased speed. Another one may be endurance. And so you may have increased blood oxygen delivery that may help in endurance. So that's why these athletes are doing it. They're really trying to gain that competitive edge. And many times it is a very small edge that they're looking for, but it may just be enough to go from no medal to the bronze or bronze to the gold.
So really, really cutting things close, right? So really looking for any edge that they can in competition. What are the ways that athletes are actually participating in doping? A pill? Is it a series of pills? Is it a regimen, injections? How does it actually work?
Yeah, that's a great question because doping is a large term that encompasses a number of arenas in which athletes can do this and be assisted in doing this, because for the most time they're not doing it and acting on their own. So there are doping classes. So you can take a tablet, you can take injections, and the classes of doping fall into anabolic steroids is one, which increases muscle bulk, it increase in strength, increase endurance. But some of the negatives, you can have aggression, you can have kidney failure, you can have increased facial hair, low sperm counts. Another class is stimulant drugs that can increase your heart rate. So that increases your blood flow and that can help decrease fatigue. It can make you more aware. It can actually make you increase your speed and whatever that event that you're competing in is. But some of the downsides is that if you take too many stimulants, you can run the risk of having an abnormally increased heart rate that can be detrimental to your health. Another class of doping medications is diuretics. Now, diuretics can be used in wrestling, for example, when you're trying to cut weight, you're trying to drop weight right at the last time before you weigh in and you can compete. So you can try to compete as high a weight as possible. Another reason why diuretics are used is because they try to flush the doping drugs, the illegal, illicit drugs out of their system. And so they use diuretics for this. But diuretics can lead to kidney failure. They can lead to dehydration. Another class of drugs is narcotics. So narcotics are like oxycodone, Percocet, Vicodin, morphine. These drugs try to mask pain so you can compete through the pain. But obviously, if you're competing through pain with an injury, you have increased risk of furthering that injury or getting a new injury. Now, another class that that a lot of people have heard of are hormones like HGH, human growth hormone. So that increases bulk, that can increase energy, can decrease fatigue. Blood doping is one that we've heard about before. What is that? That is really increasing your blood's oxygen delivery capacity. And so you have a protein in the blood called hemoglobin that carries oxygen to your muscles. And blood doping, you pull blood out of the athlete, and then many times you put in their own blood or you put in someone else's blood, increasing their oxygen carrying capacity. And then another that we've heard of is beta blockers. And what are beta blockers? They help to lower your heart rate. And so if you're a shooter or you have some sort of athlete that is competing in a sport where, decreased trembling is important, then beta blockers are drugs that can be utilized for that. So multiple different classes and ways in which athletes are doping.
So lots of different ways, and you really kind of took my next question off the board, which is some of the side effects. You were mentioning those. So yes, it can give you a competitive edge, right? It's not fair. That's why it's banned. That's why these are banned substances, but they can also be dangerous to the athlete's health.
That's correct. And as I went through there's different dangers, and many of these dangers, the athletes really doing a risk-benefit, scenario in their minds. Are they risking some of these adverse effects of these drugs for, again, that competition or that medal or that outcome that they're looking to receive? And they're running their own risk-benefit scenarios, I would assume, in their minds, whether they think it's worth it to go ahead and attempt doping at the risk of some of these physical health, deleterious effects.
Right. Yeah. It feels like the competition is one way to compete, and also trying to figure out how to dodge some of the bodies, some of the organizations that are responsible for monitoring this. So that's my next question: is who's responsible for keeping this in check? Who's responsible for monitoring the banned substances, and who's using it and who's not?
That's a great question, because it can be relatively complex. So the basic way to look at this is from an Olympic standpoint. There is an International Olympic Committee that was just formed back in 1894, and this is sort of the governing body that governs all of the national Olympic committees. So United States, for example, has its own, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Other countries have their own Olympic committees. Each one of these national Olympic committees has their own anti-doping agency. So in the United States, you have the United States Anti-Doping Agency that is tasked with testing United States athletes, and each country has their own. Then on the world stage, you have the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, which is what we've heard many times described in the past. And the World Anti-Doping Agency was formed in 1999, and they're tasked with providing testing and investigations into making sure that we have clean competition.
Dr. Parisien, appreciate your time talking to us about doping. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mount Sinai Live. We stream smart healthcare information that's simple to understand so New Yorkers can improve their health. I'm Jimmy McKay. Thanks for watching.